Hello everyone, this is Dragin Hikari. I welcome you to Random Sundays. I don't know if I'm sticking with that name long term or not, but I figured I'd do it for right now. So, here's the thing with this. So, my thoughts behind this is currently Sunday is about the only other day I can stream without running into difficulties. But I also can't stream every week on Sunday either, because it's like the one day a week I have to take care of whatever issues that I need to take care of that can't be done during the week or whatever. Since all my other days of the week are occupied by something I need to deal with, whether it's cleaning the house or going to the gym or working on the clips and stuff on Saturday, all that stuff that kind of goes into everything I'm currently trying to do and trying to keep up with. For that reason, I really can't make an official 4th day stream that I'm going to like promise or guarantee most weeks, like I have with like the Final Fantasy 14 raid nights or the Wednesday variety stream that I've been doing recently. So figure whenever I feel up to it and when I have time to do it, I figure just adding this one extra stream occasionally will help things a little bit. Now, unlike the structure of the other streams, I kind of want this to be a little bit more, well, whatever, for the most part. The idea basically being that I can use this to babble on about whatever I want to talk about, or play whatever I feel like, whether it's continuing the variety stream or playing Final Fantasy 14 in a more general sense, or even other stuff that might be one-offs or things like that that don't need entire streams devoted to them, things like that that we could do. And use these kind of less structured streams for that purpose. That's kind of my thought around it. Right? Since the variety streams and the raid nights are so... they have such a strict structure to them compared to everything else, just because they're all during work days, so I can only do so many hours each of those days, no matter what I try to do. And like the Final Fantasy 14 raid nights are only 2 hours, because that's about the amount of time I can give to those. I kind of wish we were able to like turn those into one session, but I don't see that happening anytime in the near future here, so it is kind of what it is. So I was just kind of looking around things this morning to see what was going on, because there's been some fuss in the VTuber space, which I've only been recently more paying attention to. It's been only a couple of months since I started paying attention to the wider community and trying to kind of find my place in that, more or less, because whether I like it or not, I am in the VTuber space, and I do have to sort of find what works for me in terms of a lot of that. And the interesting thing that's been coming up is mostly due to some changes Twitch has been making recently, mostly in regards to... they're basically trying to cut down on the view bots. Those people I ban almost every stream, they're trying to sell me bots, except going after the people that actually go through with the sales in question. Unlike me, who just bans them outright, but I just never really had much desire to try to artificially inflate my stats. I just don't see... whatever success you get by doing that is probably temporary at best, because either what you do works or it doesn't, and that's kind of what I've sort of started to accept with a lot of that situation. In general, it seems like what's happened is this has resulted in some lower view numbers, and it seems like they've changed the way people lurking have impact the stream numbers or anything else like that. I mean, on my end, I haven't really seen anything like that. And I think that's because since I'm already a Z-lister as far as Twitch is concerned anyway, that whatever numbers I may or may not have lost from them modifying their algorithm at the moment isn't really noticeable. Because, let's be honest, I'm a Z-lister with less than 100 followers right now. I'm not that important to Twitch in one way or the other, really. Other than the fact that I probably eat up their bandwidth by existing, but A lot of people think that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to reduce the number of smaller streamers so they can focus all their resources on like the handful of big streamers. And there's probably some truth to that kind of thing, where it's technically more profitable for a company like Twitch to focus on the handful of people that bring in a lot of large numbers rather than 100 accounts that are bringing in a few numbers like mine would. Which is understandable to an extent, but it's still not exactly a functional idea in practice, because you have to consider that for every one streamer that's bringing in, 4,000 or 5,000 viewers at a time, that still accounts for a large amount of the audience that is going elsewhere, even in small numbers. To be fair, I don't know how how the cost of bandwidth for each streamer that streams on their platform is either. It's kind of one of those business things that you kind of can only know by being inside, since that's not something they're going to publicly talk about, generally speaking. And I've seen no sources indicating that one way or the other, so I'm not sure what to make of all that. And I've also seen some people say that some people are exaggerating the numbers a bit, which is also a common issue with this type of situation, where there's probably other factors that could be affecting the viewer numbers people are seeing as well. I said, for me, it's not a huge deal, since I don't have a big enough an audience at this point to... And I don't make a lot of money from this platform either way. It's like, thanks to the gift subs that are commonly given by Exploder, I, have enough money to buy a few assets here or there. But I don't. This will probably never be my main source of income. It would just require such a huge amount of resources, and it is so volatile that I have a hard time imagining I could give up my day job, even if it would let me stream more. I don't know, I read somewhere it would take over 2,000 subscriptions to even cover, the base pay that well, not so much the base pay is... Not only would I'd have to be making as much as I do in my base pay, but I would also need to be making enough to cover all the benefits that my company currently pays for. So in order to do that, I would have to be making $5,000 or $6,000 a month through Twitch in order to make it sustainable for my current lifestyle. And so just so I could cover all of the health insurance and all that other stuff, as well as the additional taxes you have to pay generally when you're considered self-employed. So, it would take a lot, and I'm not comfortable with the way that Twitch and similar platforms work to put all my eggs in that basket currently. Honestly, I don't know how people do it without making very, very large amounts. You already have to kind of be winning that game, I think, in order to safely do that. I am definitely not among that, though. But, as far as my channel is concerned, I've sort of been building up the basics. I've kind of had to play a lot of catch-up in terms of what is already expected from a VTuber at this point. Like this entire scene setup I've set up recently is something I probably should have done a long time ago, but didn't do for one reason or another, because I just didn't think much about it at that point, since my entire focus was basically just trying to get the games played through and all that. It's not a drink there. But I have been expanding in a few ways. It hasn't produced much in terms of my results of my Twitch channel yet. But it's only been a couple of months since I started doing a little bit more, other than just simply putting up the voids and leaving it at that. Part of the reason I can't stream on Saturdays is because I've started working with the clips I've been making on Twitch and converting some of them into YouTube Shorts and trying to do some editing on some of them. I'm not very good at it yet, but I'm doing the best I can for somebody who's I'm one-man operation trying to work with the dozen clips I have, and trying to find which ones work and which ones don't. Though, admittedly, my results on YouTube Shorts have been kind of sporadic in a way. Like, I think this is the first week I've had a clip that's exceeded 500 views. And it's not one of the ones I edited or did much with. It was just a random clip of me misunderstanding Kanon during our raid when he said it was Mai's fault rather than my fault, which didn't even seem that funny to me. But I posted it anyway and somehow got 800 views. In comparison to everything else, it never exceeds more than like a couple hundred. And I have a few in there that haven't even gotten 10 for some reason. It's like, okay, how does this system even work? And I mean, YouTube is kind of one of those things I've been looking at recently, debating whether I should be like simul streaming on YouTube as well. But I haven't figured out like the best way to go about that on YouTube yet. The main issue is so many of my stream elements are tied into Twitch's interface, like the trigger fire alerts, the emote walls, the throw system, everything I have is kind of tied into Twitch's interface. So I really don't know how to offer like the same level of interaction on something like YouTube. And I've also haven't figured out a good way to like monitor chats between two systems simultaneously without them getting really confusing. And it also raises the question that if I start streaming the streams on YouTube, is if there's any point of uploading the VODs weekly like I have been, or if it removes the point of really doing that, or if editing them. It's also been a question. I'm doing a little bit of editing on the voids, like cutting out long pauses during the raid streams and things like that during our like 10 minutes before we go in and things like that. But it's also wondering whether or not that's actually doing anything, because it doesn't. None of the videos get a number of views anyway. So I don't know. It's a lot of questions of if I started streaming on Twitch on YouTube as well, how would I go about? How would that change the way I'm doing everything right now? And I'm not entirely sure on that yet. It's kind of up in the air. Kind of like with most things, is like I'm doing a few upgrades here and there as I can. As I said, the few subscribers I do have, almost all the money I am making off of the channel is going right back into the channel currently. Because I have my primary job, which pays, my living expenses and all that, and I can't really afford to throw too much money of my own into this at the moment. It's like I make enough money to get by a little bit, but I can't, dump like multiple thousands of dollars into setups and things like that at the moment. So I work with what I got here, trying to see what I can improve without, dumping a huge number of resources into them. If any of it does end up succeeding, then yeah, I will definitely put more money into this process, but it's just not quite there yet where I feel comfortable doing that. But getting there little by little. Still hoping eventually to start breaking At the moment, I'm only really concerned about expanding my followers more so than my subs, because I kind of feel like before I have the right to start asking people for money, I have to, justify having them here in the first place. So, and I'm actually finding that's the hardest part of this streaming process is I am not good at marketing myself. So I've had to learn to be more involved in like social media interactions or engaging with more people on Twitch and stuff, just trying to, do a little bit more of that, since I'm a very private person, so there's a lot of details I oftentimes keep to myself. So that does sometimes result in me not being able to, like, promote myself or push myself in a way that gets you the type of attention on social media platforms and things like that. And I'm not sure I really want to start doing that anyway. But it's still kind of one of those things I'm trying to figure out what works for me. I enjoy a lot of the VTubers I follow on Twitch, and I pop in when I can. I unfortunately cannot pop into as many streams as I wish I could, just due to the amount of time that I have to do a lot of these things in. And I'm kind of envious of some of them, to be perfectly honest. Some of those big VTubers have such energy to them, and they're able to put on such a display for their audience and provide, you know, an interesting experience every time, you know, you join them. Unfortunately, I don't have that level of energy, so I'm having to kind of find what works for me and what people might find interesting out of me in particular, which I think is the big thing here. And I'm trying not to get, you know, you try to avoid having too much of the identity crisis or, you know, imposter syndrome or things like that as you kind of watch the more successful individuals and all that. But so the plan for this week is that on Tuesday, patch 7.3 is coming out. As I've kind of said in other streams, I'm going to, at least for this patch cycle, I'm going to record those off stream and put them up as videos on YouTube exclusively. And the reason just because is currently the day one streams can be kind of annoying to stream right now. Mostly because I find I have had a lot of technical problems in the past when I've tried to stream those days. I don't know why it seems to happen, but it sort of does. And also, since my 14 content streams often focus on story and things like that, they just don't get, you know, that much attention. And most of the people that watch me are not going to tune in at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning to watch me play through the main scenario quest of Final Fantasy 14, because I either have the people that already play 14 and are going to want to experience it themselves, or they're people that watch me for other reasons and probably are not going to tune in early morning to watch something like that. So that's kind of my mindset on it. My plan is to record the main scenario, my playthrough of that and my reactions to that, since I'm kind of the big story guy here. And also probably the Alliance raid as well, I'll also cover. I probably won't post on anything else right now, just because if I'm going to do stuff for general content, I am going to stream like if my raid group is talking about running the new EX next week or something like that, on one of the other days, I might stream that if we do it that way. And if we do that, I'll let you guys know. If the only thing I haven't decided is if I'm going to do the variety stream on Wednesday, because that means I'm going to have a lot of extra recordings to deal with. But I'll try to do what I can. I think our plans for next week are to do the raids as normal on Thursday and Friday, since we're already at the point in the raid tier where we don't need the weapons from EX to boost our eye level to make progress in there. So we're probably going to do that as more of an off thing. But whenever we do those, I do plan to stream them. So you'll probably expect a lot of Final Fantasy 14 for a bit, if nothing else. And I think my music disappeared. Hold up. There we go. I don't know why it stopped. Ugh. Hold on. Bear with me for just a moment. I need to... I've been unconsciously shredding a piece of paper in my hand the entire time I've been talking here, and now I'm like, I got like just a bunch of shreds in my hand at this point. We should do something with those. Still not used to like talking for long periods of time, so I'm trying to get used to that. So yeah, I'm back to. I went back to work this week, and with my sabbatical being over and all that, so I was like, I'm trying my best to try to keep up the routine I kind of built up with the stream and stuff over my sabbatical to stay consistent with it. Because I feel like even though I don't have, this platform hasn't been, you know, extremely successful for me yet, it gives me a place to kind of just do stuff, something a little bit different to kind of fill out the week and not feel like I'm just sitting around not doing anything because of the routine. Said I wish I could stream every day like some people do, but I just don't have that kind of energy, especially after the work week for the most part. You spend a lot of time talking to people all day. It's hard to hop on and talk to more people. Let's see here. Said, I think tonight, Kiwi Cat, which is the 14 streamer I've been raiding and hanging out in a lot lately, is having her anniversary stream later on tonight. I think she's been streaming every day for like 2 years straight or something like that. Like, holy shit. I wish I had that type of motivation time on my hands, but she's having some big event, so probably will try to end the stream around that time. This Final Fantasy 14, I don't have anything really to do in that today because I actually already finished my prep work for Tuesday when the patch comes out, so I'm capped on, I had to cap all of my tomes, all of my crafter and gatherer scripts, and prepare the materials I need to make the new crafting gear, which will come out then. So we're all ready to go for Tuesday on that. It's just going to be shenanigans galore on Tuesday. I'm not working on Tuesday, so I'll be spending most of the day doing that kind of stuff, but still. Anyway, let's see here. Maybe we'll play some more Lunar this afternoon. I feel like I want to make a little bit more progress on that. And since I don't know what Wednesday's going to look like this week, it might be a good time to just make even a few hours of progress in there. Would be better than nothing. Yeah, let's plan on doing that here. Hello everyone, this is Dragin Hikari. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to be notified of future videos. If you have any suggestions on what you would like to see from me, feel free to comment below. Also check out the links in the description of the video to find me on various other platforms. Thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.